Hey y'all, we've got Rampage here. Today we're continuing on our journey of socialization and distraction work, right? We're gonna break those things into two kind of different categories, even though they go hand in hand, right? One of the big differences that I think of, socialization, you can start that right off the rip as soon as you get your puppy, right? We can do engagement, right? Eye contact, yes, reward, right? And we'll do a little bit of that here. That is socialization, giving them a positive experience in close proximity to whatever you're trying to socialize them to, right? The difference with distraction is we're teaching our dogs impulse control, right? We're giving them experience in distraction, but having them still maintain their obedience behavior. So you're proofing your obedience. You're making your obedience behavior stronger. They have to understand that it doesn't just apply to a calm, relaxing training environment. A lot of times you do your training, your training's on point in your living room, in your backyard. Now all of a sudden we go out to a farmer's market and it's like, it's all out the window, right? And you'll see some differences here. His focus, we'll lose his focus a little bit because this is something we're still working on. The more distractions we have, the less focus he's gonna have. So we wanna be building that stuff. So we're here at this market. We're off to the side. We're on a side street, probably, I don't know, 50 to 70 yards away from this farmer's market. So all I'm doing is getting a gauge first. Because I have a foundation, I'm getting a gauge of his body language, right? So there's been a couple of times I've seen him yawn. He's gone from being rigid to being relaxed with the hips kicked over to the side, right? So this is all information for me, right? The more rigid he is, yawning, that's a sign of stress, right? The more hypervigilant, he's looking at every little thing that's moving around. This tells me he's more anxious than he is completely relaxed. Let's say he was laying completely on his side, paws are crossed, he's just laying, chilling. Now he's more in a relaxed state, right? So it doesn't matter, I can still push forward just because he's a little bit anxious. Even if he was more anxious than this, I can push forward with my session. This is just information that I want to be aware of. So I'm gonna start an engagement session while we're here. We don't have a lot going on. There are still distractors and things, but I'm gonna just see how his overall focus is with me, right? Rampage, yes. He gives me eye contact, boom, he gets a reward. Yes. And so remember, the purpose here is just focus. Yes, pay attention to me instead of what's going on around, and we have a fun interactive event. Notice he's taking the food, going right to check out the environment. Chewing on a leaf. No biggie, yes. And I don't care, like right now he's released. He can choose what to do, right? I want him to choose to look at me. That's the goal here, yes. But I'm not gonna force it or anything like that. Yes. Remember those auditory stimulators? Yes, right? Yes. So the more I'm into this, the more he's into this, yes. Yes. Now let's get a baseline. So that's pretty good, right? He is still kind of like, he takes the reward, checks out. Hey, what's going on? Hey, ooh, a leaf, right? This is, again, he's giving me good focus, but this is just little information versus a dog that's just like, give me another one, give me another one. They keep staring at me, right? And you'll see every dog is different. Some dogs might not even do this. Yes, and we might have to back off just a little bit. So now let's get a gauge for our obedience, right? So I'm just gonna do a standard obedience drill. Heel, good. So checking out my heel position. Good. And why are we doing this, right? So I want to see what's our baseline. If I'm at this distance here, right, once I go into the market, does anything change? He's giving me a good heel position. I'm looking at his body language, ears are back, tail positioning is lowered, which is typically going to indicate that he's a little bit insecure. He's a little bit unsure about what we're doing. This is a place we have not been to before, right? And keep in mind too, right, this is a dog that lives out in the country. We don't get a lot of exposure to. Good. Rampage down. Good. Rigid posture right here. We don't get a lot of exposure to things like this, like a neighborhood or anything like that. We live out in the country. We try to get out as often as we can. Yawned, right? So look at that. Yawned, rigid positioning. He gives me focus. I can still reward this, right? He tucks his paw, kicks his hips over. Good. Right? Ears back can be submission as well, right? So that doesn't just because the ears are back doesn't mean he's super skittish or scared or anything like that or uncomfortable. All right, so that's the socialization side. Now, what I'm gonna do for this session, I'm gonna gradually work towards these distractors. So I'm gonna move to the next phase over here, get a little bit closer. Let's see how our focus changes, if it does at all. Rampage, heel. So he's distracted by two dogs over here, but holds heel position overall. So not too concerned with that. And I do want him to get exposure to these other things, right? But the name of the game right now is not, hey, let's play with every dog, let's let everybody pet you or anything like that. Like, there's a time and a place for that stuff, but that's not the goal of today. Good, good. Rampage, down. Good, Rampage, stay. All right, still rigid. No major change, but he is definitely paying attention. We're a little bit closer to dogs and people and noises and things like that. But as I hang out here, let's see, you know, the dynamics of what he wants to pay attention to. Other things versus me. Right now, he's really interested in these dogs over here. Hips kick over, he relaxes, right? That's good. He gets up, nope. Good. So remember, name of the game here is also impulse control. So we have a foundation of training in place. If he deviates or breaks the rules of training, we correct, right? So we do have. He's like, oh, I want to go say hi to this dog or react to this dog, or it doesn't matter what it is that's going on. I'm going to hold him to the expectations. My end goal is dogs should be able to walk right by him and he not move from this down state. You've got to have that level of control. This is the distraction side of things, which like I said, it ties into the socialization as well. But so far, he's been more interested in everything around us. He is starting to relax, but he hasn't even looked at me. Rampage, yes. So again, checks out. And he's released now, so he's not under a command. I just want to play this engagement game and see if he will engage with me. Yes. So ignoring the auditory stimulator, right? So I'm already at a closer level, too close to the distraction where I can't get his focus. Rampage. See how we're losing him here? Yes. Immediately checks out to this dog over here. Yes. Yes. So here I'm just gonna continue to try to move. Yes, the more movement I'm doing, I'm gonna quickly reload. Yes, to be ready to pay him more, right? So I have to make this more interesting than I did a minute ago. Yes, good boy. Yes. Good, good, Rampage, down. Good, Rampage, stay, all right, rigid. Right? So if every time I'm putting him in that down, I get an opportunity to check out his body language. You can still see body language when a dog's moving around, but it's going to be easier. He relaxes. It's going to be easier when you put him in a stationary command. It's very clear. Okay, rigid, relaxed, right? And ideally, I want to see those paws tucked, see how he's going into an alert position with the ears. We've got some puppies barking over there. So he's getting a little bit amped up, maintaining. This is good. All right, so the focus, so right now, so far into this session, my takeaways, the things that I'm like, hey, I need to work on this, is overall focus. I probably need to amp up my engagement sessions, but more so in a distracting environment. This is probably too distracting to really get that locked in eye contact now, at this point in his life. So I need to go to places like parks, right? Those types of environments to really lock that in. So this is a long-term goal that we're gonna work on. So now we're gonna push through the crowd here. We'll see what happens, but the goal is hold him to the expectations. I'm not here to have people pet him. I'm not here to have dogs interact with him. Hold the heel position. We're going to move around. All right? We'll see what we get into. So try to pay attention, too, to the timing of my corrections. Right? So anytime I say no, I'm probably 99% of the time giving a physical correction, either on the leash or on my remote collar. Rampage, heel. Good. And I can still reinforce good positioning. I still want focus, but I can reward the positioning as well. Nope. Good, so that was a leash correction. So he just went to go sniff that person. Again, not a bad behavior per se, but not everybody likes dogs. So you don't want him in the habit of just saying, oh, I'm gonna go say hi to this person. Tail positioning low, ears back. Very hypervigilant, looking around. Good. Nope. Good. Good. No? Good. So if on that last remote collar correction, he kind of jumped back, right? So I just decreased my level a little bit. Still a good correction, right? We want to make sure that he's responding, but we also want to make sure, no? Good, that we're not over-correcting. Notice his hackle's getting up, right? So this is just arousal. He's getting aroused by this other dog here that we're walking by. Rampage. Good. Rampage. So notice, remember the physical touch cue, right? Giving him a little poke. He's kind of blowing that off right now, but he's still holding heel. So we're still good to do this session. But I'm like, again, the biggest takeaway right now is like we need to really ramp up our focus work. Good, good. All right, so we got a bunch of big dogs here, right? So like things that I'm assessing, I just want to be able to walk past them holding the heel position. If I'm always looking at dogs as well, right? So if we look at this dog right here, tail positioning is down, right? His tail positioning is down. Two potential insecure dogs might not be a good matchup, right? This dog's a little bit more confident. That tail was down, right, when they were stopping, but it's coming up a little bit higher, right? We look at this dog right here, very interested, tail positioning neutral, kind of wagging, right? So like, I'm always looking at these things as well so that if I do have a dog come and approach us, I know what state my dog's in, I know what state the other dogs are in, right? Nope. Good. Nope. Good, all right, that correction, he's lagging behind a little bit, so I say no, give him a bump. Good. Rampage. Good, good, good. Rampage, down. Good, Rampage, stay. All right, so he did pretty good, like overall holding the commands. My biggest, again, the big takeaway is focus here. The whole time we were moving, he rarely gave me focus. He was more concerned with what's going on, right? And he's feeling a little bit insecure right now based on his body language. So that's not abnormal, but what I want long term, I want him to be more concerned with me. Even as we move through a crowd like this, I want him to be locked in on me. This comes in time. This has to be developed in time. So takeaway for something like this, like I'm not going to be harping on things like this. This isn't going to be like, hey, let's go to the farmer's market every single day. That could overwhelm him. That could stress him out, right? So I'm going to more focus on lower arousal environments, slowly build up that focus over time. And every now and then I'm going to attack things like this, right? The distraction side of things is impulse control, do what we say, hold the commands despite what's going on around us, because there will be situations where you're going to just be on a walk and all of a sudden you're met with some type of distraction. Dog, squirrel, person, farmers markets, right? You've got to be able to get through those things, right? And so what we did today, I can get through. I feel very comfortable and confident that we can get through something like this without having a negative association or anything like that. But long term, I want to work on his overall focus, right? So other things you can do, we're going to try real quick. The last thing is doing some tug play. So he's definitely into tug at home. We haven't brought it out into distraction. So we're going to see if that changes focus a little bit. Yes. Good boy. All right, so he likes the tug, right? Good boy. And I can tell by his intensity, right? He's into it, right? But he's a little bit more intense at home, right? Which would be normal. I'm also watching, like, is he engaged with me? Or sometimes he might be, see how he's looking, that dog starts barking. He's like looking out to the side as we're playing tug. Out. Sit. Yes. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. So he keeps looking over there where those puppies are barking, but he's still engaged with me. He's looking here off to the side again. Good. Good. Not right now. He's in training. Thanks for asking, though. Good. Out. His name's Rampage. Yes. Huh? No petting him. He doesn't. He's working through some stuff. He's a little anxious, so he doesn't like being pet. Good boy. Out. Sit. Good. All right. So good interaction there. Somebody walks up. Hey, I want a pet. We say, hey, nope, no petting. That's not the goal right now, right? We know he's anxious. I don't want to have people petting him in an anxious mindset. I'm just more focused on engagement. I just keep doing what I'm doing, right? And I'm having a conversation with that person. Yes. Right? So this is a method too. So some people say, well, hey, what if my dog's not food motivated, right? My dog doesn't take treats. Hey, do they play, right? So we can do same thing. This is engagement. We're having a good time in proximity to the other things. Good boy. Out. Sit. Good. Down. Good. Rampage, stay. All right, so notice too, now, as the session goes on, his energy level's decreasing. But if you go back, watch all the times I put him into a down stay, he was very rigid. Here, we put him in a down, he almost immediately kicks his hips over into that relaxed positioning. So yes, part of that is energy, right? Energy is depleting as we go on with our session. We're playing tug, we're doing something very physical. Before this session, I took him on a long walk, right? So I'm kind of using that to my advantage to get him in a better state of mind as well. But you should start to see when you do these sessions more. Nope. Good. You should, the more you do these sessions, no. Good. You should start to see the shift go towards him getting more and more relaxed as time goes on versus staying in that anxious mindset, right? So good takeaways here, good session for him, right? This is definitely the highest level distraction that he's ever been to. My biggest takeaway from this session is I need to work on engagement, right? So make sure when you guys are doing these sessions with your dogs, with your pups, with your older dogs, try to have some bullet points like, hey man, how did that session go? There were some good things, but what is the thing I really need to work on? For us, that's engagement and eye contact and focus and all that kind of stuff. So great session. We'll see you guys next time.